on fucking Mars. If the sky's your limit, then you'll never go far.
Alright, what's up guys, Poison here, and I'm back for another episode of Deadman's Cross for Android time, you know, usual stuff we do every Sunday. First off, today I'm going to be talking about how work was for Wednesday and Thursday. Other than that, I'm actually just going to be doing a recap like I usually do every other, you know, Deadman's Cross on Sunday. So let's get straight into the recap. First off, on Monday, I had two videos. I had, when should I live stream Deadman's Cross? I don't know. I want to say this is probably Sunday, actually. This is probably uploaded on Sunday, but I'm just going to say it was uploaded on Monday. And then we had Shadow Warrior Part 38. My PC feels different. Basically, I talk about how, you know, getting back from work, I was gone for 12 days originally, like a week or two ago. And, yeah, you know, I didn't get to play any computer games. I didn't get to play any games, honestly, for 12 days. So getting back onto the computer felt really weird. Then Tuesday, we definitely had two videos. We had Deadman's Cross Elite livestream at 5, where I basically announced that I was going to be live streaming Deadman's Cross Elite Hunt at 5 p.m. on Tuesday. And it was pretty cool. We had 3 viewers. We had Julie, Matt, we had Fist Me for a little bit, and we had District. And then, oh, my throat's been killing me all day. And then, okay. And then I was also viewing the live stream on my tablet so I could see what was going on. Then we also had My Fears About the Switch revealed, Shadow Warrior Part 39. Which was basically, yeah, where I talk about how, you know, I got to play Nintendo Switch over the weekend on Saturday of last week. And, yeah, don't know how to feel about the console, honestly. Don't know how to feel about it. Moving on to Wednesday, we had 2 videos like we do every Wednesday. We had why it's called Sub Week, Deadman's Cross Sub Week, whatever week it was, I don't remember. I don't remember the exact number. God, my throat's killing me today. I've been singing all day. Yes, before I started dying, you did hear that correctly. I've been working in my room all day, and I've been actually singing because I've had music, and recently I've just been listening to a lot of music that I actually know the lyrics to, so of course I'm going to sing it. But, yeah, in Wednesday's video, I basically describe why I called the video Sub Week, which, you know, after Deadman's Cross is gone, and I find a new game to replace it, I'm changing the name to a better name. I talked about it on Wednesday, but I'll talk about more once Deadman's Cross is gone in basically a month. Then moving on later today, we had I'm Gone, Kirby's Epic Yarn Part 13, because, you know, I was gone Thursday and Friday for work, and we'll talk about what happened in a minute when we are finished with our recap. Moving on, why I'm not here today and yesterday, Shadow Warrior Part 40. So, you know, we're finishing up the game. Moving on to Friday, Future of the Channel Shadow Warrior Finale. This is Part 41. We finally finished Shadow Warrior. Tomorrow, we're going to start up on Gears of War 4, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. Moving on, oh, and Friday we also had Shadow Warrior Review, which is funny because the Future of the Channel video, the Shadow Warrior Finale only got 1 view, as where the Shadow Warrior Review got 10 views. It's kind of funny, but whatever. And then yesterday, I had a video out called Livestream Change and Giveaway Help Needed. So, let's talk about that before we move on to how work was. Tomorrow, I'm going to be live streaming some Deadman's Cross. Going to be doing some more Elite Hunt. I'm going to be live streaming that here at 5 p.m. on, you know, tomorrow. So 5 p.m. tomorrow or Monday, Deadman's Cross Elite Hunt. Come hang out. I'm going to be giving away more cards, you know, whatever cards I win. And about the giveaway help needed, I finally figured it out. So in the video, I asked how I should do giveaways, and everyone voted that if I have duplicates I'm giving away, that I should give them away all at once. So, you know, starting tomorrow, I'm also going to be doing more giveaways. If you guys remember, I was doing 1 giveaway a day, and, yeah, so tomorrow I'm going to be, starting up on the daily giveaways again. There's going to be a few duplicates every once in a while of whatever I have duplicated, but nothing really special. I have a lot of Deadman's coins to get rid of. I have a lot of Elite Hunt to get rid of, or Elite Hunt permits to get rid of, so I'm just trying to get rid of them now. Moving on to how work was. So, for those who may or may not have known, I basically, actually, I don't even think I described what I was doing. So basically for work, I had to do barricade setup, essentially. I don't know what you would call the job necessarily. Basically, I had to leave for Oakland at, what was it, 9:30 in the morning, Wednesday, because I had to go to work, and, I had to travel to Oakland. It was like almost 2 hours to get there. And the second I got there, you know, I hung out for a little bit, waited for the boss, and then, oh, my bad. Waited for the boss, and then we had to go, walk down from I don't know what the street was, but we walked basically all of downtown Oakland next to like the the courthouse or city hall, whatever it was, and we just walked around and we had to follow a truck and we would first off in the truck we had to take off barricades and set them up along the road so people wouldn't be walking into the road, so people had to be on the sidewalk. Then we also had to get in a truck. We had to, I'm just gonna skip this one. We also had to pick up all like the T-tops, which are basically like huge cones. Basically, they're just cones that are skinny, long, and they have the black rubber base, I think, and not sure if it's rubber. There's some weird thing, and yeah, they're just super long and skinny. And we just had to throw them in the back of a truck, fix them and everything. So we had to take them. We had to pick up ones in a certain area, and we had to drive the truck across town, and we had to set up the T-tops in like a line. Like basically our boss was driving and he's like, hey, every like 24ish feet just throw one in the middle of the road, and we basically did that. No problem. We finished up. They had us working from 12 to 12, and it was alright, except now my hands are killing me and my shoulders because it's like a bunch of heavy lifting all day Wednesday and all day Thursday, but we're still talking about Wednesday here. The messed up part is from 12 to 12 they had us working. Not once did they ever give us lunch, and we told, like, our boss ended up leaving at around 8 o'clock. Yeah, around like 7:40ish. He ended up leaving because he had to go back home because he had to work the next day, but he was getting a day off, so, or he was getting out early, so, we talked to the supervisor guy. Dude, I want to fight these people, but that's going to be fucking death. I already know it. So, we told him, like, because we met up with another one of our workers who was our new supervisor, because as soon as our boss left, Mike was their supervisor, and he asked us if anyone's gotten lunch, and everyone who was in our group was like, no, we never got lunch. And then he's like, oh, that's fucked up, that's bullshit. So we went and talked to like the head person of the company we were working with, and he's like, so no one ever gave you lunch? And we talked about like how everyone else had food, and he's like, no one offered you food? Like, no one ever came up to and offered us food. It was always like, hey, do you guys want some water, so we wouldn't be dehydrated. And he's like, all right, well, we're gonna hop in a truck and we're gonna be going down to whatever's open. It was already like 11 at night, and we were supposed to get off at 12, but he's like, whatever, we'll just take you guys to lunch. You guys will get off early. We end up going to get food and then getting back, like 20 minutes before we're supposed to be off. But we're like, what? He's like, whatever, you guys are done for the day. We're still gonna give you the full hours. So yeah, that ended up happening. Another thing is, so we were in Oakland and there was a bunch of Antifa people there, which I don't consider myself alt-right at all, because technically alt-right is like, white supremacy. God Surma, I believe I have him added or I've interacted with him before. God Surma, I swear your name sounds familiar. I swear to God, I think I know you from YouTube. Okay, either way. So I noticed the first time we get there, there's a bunch of like, beware the alt-right people located in downtown, or beware of these alt-right activists on downtown Oakland. And then I see a bunch of people in all black, combat boots, red bandanas. I'm like, great, there's a bunch of Antifa faggots here. And I don't mean faggot as in gay, I mean faggot as in you probably vape and you drive a lowered Civic, but also in the fact that Antifa are a bunch of faggots, okay? So, I see a bunch of Antifa people here, and I tell my guys, I'm like, hey, watch out for these fuckers in the red. And they're like, why? I'm like, these are the people who go to Trump rallies, who start fights, who do all the violent shit. And they're like, okay. And I had my basically my Camelback, which if you don't know what it is, that's a backpack that you can put water in. I had my machete in my backpack, and I was like, all right, thank God I have this in case some shit goes down, I'd be prepared. But at the end of the night, before we left to go get food, there was like no barricades, there was no security checking people's bags. So I'm like, all right, whatever, I didn't even think that there was going to be security. We're workers anyway, so what does it matter what we carry, as long as we're doing our job and we're not starting shit, what does it matter? So we get back from getting our food, and we had to pass through security, and they're like, we're going to need to see your backpack. I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, we're workers. They're like, well, we still need to check your backpack. I'm like, all right, whatever, what's the worst that could happen, I'm legally carrying something I'm allowed to carry, I'm an American citizen, I can carry a blade on me as long as I want. And then I walk up to the guy, I'm like, you're gonna fucking love this. And he gives me a question look, like, what are you talking about? So I open up my backpack. The first thing you see is the handle of my machete. And this guy's face goes like, it was an African male, But this dude's face went white, his jaw dropped. He was like shocked. He didn't know what the fuck to do. He's like, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, is that a gun? I'm like, no. If it was a gun, it'd be on my hip. You wouldn't even know about it. And then he still looks at me like, what the fuck is going on? So he's like, let me get my supervisor. So he calls the supervisor over hella fast. She rushes over. She looks at my backpack, and I'm smiling because it's like the funniest thing ever. I knew this shit was going to happen too. So I'm fucking smiling with a big grin, like fucking so smug. And she's like, oh, that's a big knife. And I'm like, well, technically it's called a machete. It's not a knife. And she's like, why do you need that? I'm like, have you seen all the people running around? All the people with the red bandana? She's like, no. I'm like, oh, well, we have, and we know that they start shit. So I'm just thinking, I'm like, dude, if they give me shit for having this in my backpack, I'll walk outside the gate, I'll attach it to my hip, and then, you know, they legally can't say shit at that point. But they're like, what are you guys doing? We're like, well, when we left here earlier, this wasn't here. We're just going back to our hotel, which is literally right there around the corner. You could see it right where you are. And I'm like, we're workers. And she's like, but what are you doing through here? I'm like, because we're going to our hotel. Once again, it's right there. And she's like, oh, do you guys have your blue passes? I'm like, yes, we do have blue passes. She's like, oh, well, why didn't you just show us? I'm like, well, why didn't you just ask in the first place, you know, instead of causing this whole scene? Either way, night's over. We go to our room. We eat. We pass out. Next day, we basically had to take all the barricades that we set up. Yeah, basically, Thursday, we had to walk back from everywhere we worked that we set up barricades. And we just basically had to unlink all the barricades because we had to link them up the first day. We just unlinked them and then had to throw them back in the truck. Super heavy lifting, once again, from like 12 to 6, or 12 to 7, technically. Also, I didn't even mention at all what I was working. I was actually working the Oakland, the parade in Oakland for the Warriors, because they won, the Golden State Warriors, which every time they win, apparently they have barricades, or a parade. So this year, I had a car, so they're like, hey, can you come do this? I'm like, yeah, sure. Either way, that's pretty much how work was. Nothing went on Thursday. It was actually the most boring day ever, just a lot of work. But yeah, basically tomorrow, once again, we're starting Gears of War 4. I'm gonna start recording for that right now, actually, despite it being like 10:43. And then tomorrow I'm also gonna be live streaming some I was gonna say Killing Floor 2. Oops, wrong one. I have Killing Floor 2 video I need to make too. But that'll be brought out probably next week. Definitely next week. Actually, not probably, definitely. So I need to do live stream for Deadman's Cross tomorrow at 5 p.m. And then we're starting Gears of War 4. So until then, have an awesome day. Thank you for watching. Bye.